Whoa. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah. She so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah. She so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. She give me a bit of her love. Yo, what up, y'all? Welcome to another one, man. This your boy Rah1, and this is Spark-N-Conversation special segment called Convo Corner. And today I have another exciting special guest that I'm going to bring up today to chop it up with y'all, and that is the great Holly Harper. All right, so look. Before we get into bringing her up, I want all of y'all to know out there, recently y'all been hitting me up, asking me about this segment of Spark-N-Conversation. And as I continue to progress, I want y'all to know that as opportunities come, I'm going to continue to return it. So for those of you guys that are out there and you're saying to yourself, hey, I want to be on Convo Corner, I'm just trying to help you to understand like what Convo Corner is for. Convo Corner is for those people that have crossed the boundaries that most people are trying to get to. Right? I need to make sure that we keep Convo Corner open to those that are willing to share their story with those of you that are inspiring to be great. Right? Not saying that the stories that I don't normally have on Tuesday nights are not great. That's what the platform is about. But I want to make sure that y'all understand that Convo Corner is not necessarily just open to everybody, but it is a segment that I want to make sure that everybody can get something from. Okay? So I want to be completely clear on that. Right? So other than that, thank y'all all for the support that y'all been giving for Convo Corner. Y'all been moving it around, and that's super dope. You know what I mean? And I appreciate y'all because, you know, at the end of the day, I keep telling people, you know, there's a place for you. No matter how much or how hard it looks like you can't get there, it's a place for you. And I'm just blessed enough to be in a place that's for me. So without further ado, let me let y'all know who today's guest is. I have the great Holly Harper on. Holly Harper is a writer and a stand-up sketch comic comedian, actress from Cape May, New Jersey. She's a co-host of the national, well, she doesn't do this anymore. That's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about a lot of things because with Holly, man, she's doing so many things, right? And the main reason why I feel like her conversation is going to be so important today is because of her ability to be one of the women in business that's been able to cut through just being herself. Like, I've done so much research on her, and she is one of those that will take now we understand that people who carry the title of comedian not necessarily mean that their life has been funny. It's just that they've been able to take the things in their life and make it funny in order to keep moving. That's why I say Comedy Corner is so special, because the stories that these people come on and tell is just that. Their life is just as real as the rest of you all out there. It's just that they found a way to bring humor into life. And not only bring humor into life, but to be able to teach other people. And it looks like, from the looks of things, the way that she's going, she's moving it around. Because sketch, let me tell you something about sketch or improv, what I do, right? Because I do all these comedy skits, and I know a lot of people be asking, Rod, how you memorize all these things. I want to tell y'all, if you are a person that can do sketch, you can do a play. And if you could do a play, you can definitely act. Because let me tell you something. When you're doing a play, there's no cuts. There's no start over. There's no, we got to do this scene over. You got to go from top to bottom. And that's it. And you got to move it. And if you forget a line, you got to bring it back. You got to be if you got to be in the vicinity, like it got to be in you. And so whenever you hear these people talking about they went to school, I'm not knocking people who went to school to learn to act and learn all these other things. I'm not knocking you, because everybody needs a little bit of help every now and then. But I'm gonna tell you something. One thing about sketch and one thing about improv, it's very hard to teach somebody timing. It's really hard to teach somebody compatibility. And it's really hard to teach somebody to stay in character, because you don't have lines that's given to you. You got to stay in your character. And most people don't understand that part. So to be able to do that and to pull it off and to be successful, to be able to travel, go other places, make money off of doing that, their very thing, we got to have her on here to be able to politic to y'all. So before we bring her up, I got to bring up my co-host Gloria, because, she's the reason why we having all these people on here. So we got to give her props all the time. Let me get her up here. Gloria, what's good?
What's up, Ron? How you doing
Ain't that?
today?
Hey, I'm good, yo. I'm blessed. I'm glad to be here, right? And of course, I'm always super appreciative of you for everything that you do to contribute to Convo Corner.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. So listen, tell me a little something about Holly that you, because like we do on Combo Corner, I like to make sure that people understand why you choose the people that come on the platform. So tell us a little bit about Holly from your perspective.
Well, first of all, I'm so happy that Holly is on the platform today because I got some girl power today. You've just been the fellas, and I like the fellas. I can hang with the fellas, but it's going to be nice to have some girl power on the platform today.
Definitely.
Holly was probably one of my first interviews when I started writing 5 years ago. So it's been about 3, 4 years since I have talked to Holly or interviewed Holly or anything, but she was so real then, and she just got a wonderful sense of humor, and she's a businesswoman on top of that. And I was so happy to get back in touch with Holly and have her on the platform today.
Or, and I'm glad too because, like I said, I did some research on her, and now she put in the work.
Yeah.
There's not a lot. In the comedy business, it's kind of hard for the women, right? In a lot of aspects, right? Because it's a very heavily male driven industry. And what comes with that comes a lot of these things that I hear from the background, which be that women have to be subjected to different type of things that they normally don't need to necessarily want to do in order to get share stage time with certain people and to be in a position where, some of the more popular male comics can open the door and usher these women in. And I feel like it's the same scenario that they talk about in acting, right? And in music, where it's a casting couch in acting, and music, it's the booth, and then now you have in comedy, it's the stage. And I'm really glad that she's on because as a woman in this business, especially in the comedy business, she's been able to make it through,
Oh,
right? And she's a boss at the same time. So listen,
yes.
let's not wait any longer. Let's go ahead and bring her on up. All right, let's see. Holly,
Hi.
Hey, Holly.
Hi. How are
what's
you?
Good.
good? What's good? How are you? How are you today?
I am good. I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much. This is wonderful.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
definitely. Thank you for coming on the platform, right? Thank you for agreeing because we know you got a whole lot going on and it's a lot other things, better things you could be doing with your time. So thank you so much for
No,
coming on the
no, thank you.
platform.
And I'm just noticing, why do I have shine and jam? I have little shine and jam in the background. This is just a black existence. Okay. All right. Let
Yeah,
me
it's
straighten up
so
my
dope.
house.
What the good no, the good thing people will know that your edges is laid. Like they not gonna worry about that
The
because you
ones
got
I
it right on
kept
that.
will lay down. The ones that stayed. The ones that those are my day one baby hairs.
Alright. So look, let's do this, Holly, because we've said things about you, but I want the audience to know more about you. So let's get into a little bit of your world. Let's talk a little bit about, you know, I like to get into a thing where I like to figure out like how did you discover your purpose in comedy, right? Because there are a lot of things in life I'm sure that people push us into as far as our adults in our lives, what they rather see us do. Um, what made you pick up the pen in the sense of saying that I want to write this way versus going the way other people wanted you to go?
Well, it's really funny you asked that because I was wondering myself the other day. Okay, just because I teach stand-up comedy and I teach sketch comedy. And so I teach to young girls a lot. So I'm like seeing it in them made me question it with me. I I always was I was always writing and I was always acting when I was growing up. I was one of those kids that was like 5 years old and like filling up yellow notepads like all the time because I love to write. On the other hand, I love to act, and it wasn't until I was a teenager that I realized that I could write funny things. And I should have seen it earlier. Like I would watch like all the sitcoms, from the 70s, like Three's Company and all the different things. And then later on the Cosby Show and different things. But I started realizing very early on that I could predict the jokes. Like I would pause it when I could pause TV, like if I taped it in the 80s, but I would like all of a sudden be like, it's or letting a speaker going to come through the door, or it's Jack is going to say this. Like I started to know I had a comedic brain, but it wasn't until I was a teenager, and I was about 15, and I was a cheerleader in our hometown, our little football team, our high school, and it was really really cold. And I don't know if you remember. Look at me, so dating myself. That's however, that's okay. We're all born at a certain time. But you remember in Philadelphia the move fires?
Oh yeah.
85.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in Philly till I was about 9, and then we moved to, my mom got me married, moved to South Jersey. But at the game,
Mm,
we were talking about the move fires, and there was like some player got hurt on the field, so it was taking a long time to like in timeout. And I started doing a newscaster from Channel 7 News and not making fun of the fire, but making fun of how they're not doing anything to help anybody. You know what I mean?
right.
And I started doing that. And next thing I knew, like my friends, we used to always gas up each other. But all of a sudden I turned to the side and I looked and there was like a whole stands of people that were watching. And I realized like, oh, that's weird. Like that is weird. And then I realized that I loved characters. I've loved characters. And
Right.
I fell in love with SNL. And then I had a
Mm,
love-hate relationship with SNL because I never saw any black women. Do you know what I
right.
mean? So
Yeah, yeah.
things that were comedic really spoke to me, but it wasn't just stand-up and it wasn't just sketch. It was musical comedy. It was, so many things that I just really
Yeah.
loved. Like Joan Rivers, found Joan Rivers, right around the same time. And I was like, she is evil and I can't stop listening. This is
Right.
amazing. So
Right.
yeah, it hit me young, but it took me a while to figure it out because there weren't many black women that I could look at and say, oh, there's blah blah, or there's like these kids now they don't understand. We didn't have Insecure, and then Black Girls on
Mm,
SNL. We didn't have that. So I would
hmm.
look at white women and be like, okay, I'm like her, but I'm not like her. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I really just kind of had to forge my own path.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important part is finding the will to still look or search, right? Because there are people who will get to a certain plateau and then they'll quit or they'll stop, right? Because it's
Yeah.
not exactly what they want.
Yeah, or because honestly, you don't see yourself out there. I came out of college, mid 90s, came to New York, and I was just an actress. I wasn't a comedian for a while. I wasn't a comedian. The sketches were things I just wrote and kept to myself when I was straight out of college. But I just never forget. I quit acting like straight up auditioning for a while, I think quite a while because I just didn't see myself in anything that was offered, like nothing. Like if it was a black girl that was a role I was reading for, if she was funny, it was always how they saw as hood funny or urban funny, which is not even like a real thing because black people
Yeah.
are from everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But it was always like a very narrow lane. Or she was, sorry, boring. Or she was
Mm,
boring. It was like the pretty, boring girl or the funny hood girl. And then I'll
right.
never forget, I had an agent at the time, not a manager, I had an agent at the time. She told me, she's like, I swear to God, her name was Pat. She had a deep voice and she chain smoked all day. And she'd be like, I don't know what to do with you. She's like, if you were white, you'd be Rachel on Friends. She's like, but you're black. And maybe, I don't know what to do with you. Maybe you need to get fat. If you were fat, I could sell you as a funny girl, but you're not fat and you have a goddamn Huxtable. I don't know what to do. And I was
What?
just like,
Wow.
so I was
That's
like,
crazy.
okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. And so from that point on, did you all right? So where would you go from there from hearing that? Is that a moment of discouragement or is that a moment of okay, well, let me figure something out? Or did you deal with both of those emotions at that time?
I dealt with both of those emotions all the time. And it was really maddening because I'm sorry, I am a damn good actress, but I would read for roles sometimes and just be like, this is awful. Like I could hear it. Like I'll never forget. I auditioned for All My Children, and I was so excited. Like I had like four callbacks,
Wow.
and this was like a show that I grew up watching. And it got
Yeah.
to the point where it was like it wasn't a screen test, but it was like down where they're filming us, like real serious and everything. And I started laughing in the middle of
Oh
the
my
callback
God.
because I heard the dialogue. Like if you really hear soap opera dialogue, you will die laughing.
Yeah,
You
it's
know what I mean?
crazy.
It was just like, Brick, when you went off that bridge, I thought you were gone forever. And I was like, like I couldn't like help it. And so hearing from my agent at the time, like you're unsellable, I just started. And what happened was I was doing stand up. I started doing stand up, and I started seeing the same like 5, 10 women at every open mic and every show. And so I just reached out to them, and I was like, I'm a writer. You're not going to find anything because it's all like in my head and on notepads, but I'll write a sketch show if you guys will be in it. And that's how I started. That was in January of 99. 99, way before I even did American Candy, a decade before. I had a sketch show
Mm.
called The Dope Show. And that's what I did. I got together with comedians that I knew and I wrote sketches and I put them in it. And I found places to put up the show.
Wow. And so from there, so whenever you would go to the places to find to put up the show, were these places that you already worked as a comic, or how did that work, the building a relationship with venues? Because I think that's important to know too, especially as a woman. Like, how did you work out the relationship with venues?
I'm trying to remember the first venue that we really did all the time is called the Triad here in New York City. And I
Hmm.
think I found it because it was near where I worked. I used to work at the Shark Bar in the 90s, and
Oh
they were
wow.
on, yeah, honey dip fried chicken, two sides.
Wow.
Just mac and cheese and them greens, child. The mac
Okay,
and
so
cheese.
is this a Jersey thing? Was
No,
this
it's
in?
in New York. It's in New
Oh, New
York.
York.
It's
Okay.
in New York, but I'm from I'm from East Orange, so I'm from North Jersey. So
Y'all will
it's
come.
only like it's only like
Y'all will come and they'd be like, the chicken wasn't that good. I'm like, you drove
Yeah.
all that way.
yeah,
You drove
yeah.
all that way to say that. No,
Yeah,
but
we would go because it's only like 30 minutes for us to get to New York. So that was
yeah,
our,
y'all
it was like
car
an
people,
everyday.
like y'all don't mind. Yeah, I
Yeah,
grew up in New Jersey. I grew up in South Jersey. So it's like car people, they'll just get in the car and go. They don't care.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. We would do it.
yeah,
But
but people were like, I worked at the Shark Bar, and then somebody was like, hey, you know that there's a theater just 4 blocks down, 3 blocks down, two blocks down called the Triad, and they put up all types of shows. And I was like, oh, so they were like first spot. I was there for like 2 years strong.
ooh,
Yeah,
wow. And
yeah,
so with the other comedians, so the female comedians, because I think that's the power of networking or finding like-minded people is so important, right?
yeah.
I have a networking event going on this weekend down here. We in North Carolina, and it's called We Don't Wait, We Create, and it's just based
Okay.
on that whole title, just like that. Like, we're not waiting on nobody to give us validation. We create that which is right, because I just am a firm believer of that. I'm a firm believer that we shouldn't be waiting around for somebody to validate us and tell us if we're good enough or not for something. And I also don't believe that we should be so quick to give our talent away, because so many people looking for that get on moment where they signing some contract or some type of deal where they're giving their gift away to somebody else
Whew.
as a means of saying how they could be used or not. And they rely on that, right? And
Yeah,
because the next thing that people do is they get governed by their bills. Like, I believe bills are the people's gods now. Like, people, they bow down to their bill. Their bills control them. So in other words, they make those type of decisions. And I feel like, at some point you gotta believe in yourself. Not just so
yeah,
much to believing in yourself to say, yo, I wanna see if I believe in myself enough for somebody else to say, hey, you're good enough, or do I believe in myself enough to say that I want to attract what's for me and not chase. So
absolutely.
how do you feel when it comes to that? Because you gathering with a bunch of women or other comedians. You didn't specify if it was just women,
Well,
but
it was women at first, and then I welcomed in a couple dudes, and then I
okay.
had a nice crew.
And then you had that crew. All
Yeah.
right, bet. So and from that mindset, how did you gather that and in order to put it, to put yourself in a position to say, yo, I can do this on my own, or well, I can create this.
Well, it's wild. I mean, I grew up, I mean, I was a 70s kid. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
They didn't know what we were doing. Like
Yeah.
half the day, you know what I mean? They had no idea. But me
No,
and my
facts.
sisters, we used to put up plays, fashion shows, whatever in our living room, like all the
Right.
time. And so I just, but what really gave me the biggest amount of agency was I went to a Quaker boarding school when I was in high school for 3 years. I went
Mm.
there for 3 years, had that really amazing opportunity. And I'll never forget the staff and the admin there. I don't even like, we, at Quakers, you don't even call them Mr. So and so. You call, that's Pam. That's Derek. It's wild to have a children call you by your first name,
Right.
but they did. That's how Quakers roll. Okay. They believe everybody's equal. But one thing they did is I'll never forget, I said, hey, I wrote a 20-minute it's like a sitcom. I was like 16 and I wrote this sitcom episode. And I was like, I don't know what to do with it, but I would like to see it. And they were like, well, here's the keys to the theater and costume stuff. And we'll help you with lights. Choose a date in the calendar and we'll set up in the theater and we'll promote your show. Like they really were just like, you could do this. You can do
Wow.
whatever you want. And so when I got out of school, I realized you can do whatever you want. It may not be on the scale of where you want it, but you can do
That's true.
whatever you
Mm.
want. Like when writers say, look, I'm really governing my bills, I don't have time or the money to put into a play or shoot a film or shoot a sketch or whatever, I say, okay, you don't have time and money for that. But what you can do is you can write it. You can write the hell out of it. You can take classes online so you don't need to go anywhere. And if you need class suggestions, I could tell you because I've taken some amazing classes. I fully believe in taking great classes. And then you could have a reading in your kitchen, and then you could have a reading at a coffee house, and then once that reading
Mm.
goes well, the coffee house, then you could have a reading at a theater, and then you could be the featured reading at the theater. So if you just take your baby steps and keep pushing it all the way up, there's a lot of things you can do before you have to just throw tons of money or tons of time into something. You can work on a screenplay after you have dinner from 8 to 10 p.m. for 3, 4 months or whatever it takes, and then have a reading, and you will be, and then you take pictures of that reading and you turn to a story and you have some satellite content on social media. And next thing you know, everyone's like, damn, this chick's a writer because she is. And these
Mm.
days, I just say you got to work like hell and you got to advertise. You got to work like hell and then show people you're working like hell. It's really sad that you have to, that people these days, they don't think you do anything unless they see it on social media. Like they don't, and I mean,
True.
that's what, that it is what it is. But
True.
you have to put out that you're working. Even if it's just you writing on a notepad, you have to do that.
Wow. Yeah, you have to constantly remind yourself that it is the work that's going to get you to where you're going. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we have to work our talents, right? So, you know, in a lot of people's situation, right, it comes a time where the opposition that they face in their visions or their dreams come from the people that they choose to be around, right? Whether it be family members or relationships and
Oh
different things like
my God, are
that.
you hiding in my closet? What is happening?
N-
Mm.
No, no, no. But I feel like this would be an important piece to talk about. You know what I mean? How did you navigate those things? And because I'm sure, you know, you probably didn't always get the support that you would have liked from those that you really supported yourself, you know,
Yeah.
or look for, because all of us as creatives have faced that and we deal with that. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, I don't have rules on my wall or anything, but I do have
Hmm.
rules that are just things that I've learned along the way.
Okay.
Um, Number one, you don't put anybody in a position of leadership in your thing until they can show and prove. Like they're like, let me like you want to be a let me see what you've done. Let me see what you've done, and then I need to know what are you going to do because I don't need you doing what I'm doing. I need you to show what you're bringing. Another thing, if you do bring somebody in to work with you and they're always kind of like critical of you, they're doing that because they don't have anything to bring to the table.
Exactly.
Mm.
When people don't have anything of note to say or give, they choose violence. That's what they
Mm.
do. They mush, they neg, they chop you down. There's a lot of people out there who just say what they don't like and what they don't want in place of
Yes.
knowledge, in place of experience.
Yes.
Everybody can have a negative opinion about something, but what are you bringing to the table? What are you
Exactly.
bringing?
Wow.
Number two, and I just learned this, and it was wild when it happened. When someone is threatening to leave, help them pack.
Amen.
Mm.
Help them
Amen.
pack, and gleefully
Yes.
help them pack. Not like get your ass out of here, but you know what? I do think it is time for you to go, and thank you so much for what you brought. Help them pack. And number three, when you're thinking about parting ways with somebody and you're working on a project, the first thing you need to do is draw a line down the page and write in their pros and cons, what they bring, what they take. And when you put it out there, then you could be like, oh, well, I could get that, and I could get that, and I could get that, and I could.
I was telling
Okay.
Ron, I was just we was talking about something like this probably last
Yes.
week. You have to be
Hmm.
very careful who you have in your circle, and
I've
because
been
you know
burned so many times. Yep.
it's
Yep.
always a Judas at the table. So you have to be very careful who you have in your circle because a lot of people that you think are with you, they're not with you. But you'll learn it as you go along the way. But always keep your eye open for that Judas because it's always one at the table.
Yes. And there's another thing I've
Mm.
learned. Don't trust non-creative people in creative spaces. There are
Mm.
people who come in. Okay, there are people you work with. Suppose you're working like a TV show or even a play, any kind of thing that's monetized. The people that are monetized, they stay on the monetized part. They're the monetized people. They stay in that part. They tell you how to do this, that, and that. But there are people who try to come aboard the creative team when they are not creators.
Mm.
There are people and they are not creative. I'll never forget, I worked with someone one time years ago when they were critical of this and critical of that and critical of this and critical of that. And all of a sudden I realized they don't write anything. They don't bring anything creative and throw it out there for us to judge. They judge us,
Mm.
but they have not put, and because the thing is, people who really put forth the creativity are not as judgmental.
That's right.
They're observant, they can be objective and subjective, but they're not as critical because they're like
No.
the Erica Badu. I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit.
Right.
You know, so when
Exactly.
people are really super critical, that's a red flag because I'm like, well, what are they? You know, a lot of times when people are very opinionated and negatively opinionated, we tend to give them authority because they're like, they know what they're. No, they don't. They
Mm-mm.
have an opinion like your little nephew has an opinion.
Facts. Facts. And no, and no experience too, because what we notice is that when people start to pick apart your thing and it's
Mm,
something that they didn't do, is they're just them projecting their own fears
yeah.
onto other people. Or and depending on the relationship of the person you have, a lot of times they shoot your joint down because they have a fear of you leaving them once you get to a certain spot,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because that happens because it's just like how that thing be when people say, yo, it's people could tell your gifts or they could sense your energy even before you do. And it's a lot of people that can tell that you're great at what you do, but then they can see themselves, they see they don't have value. They know that the only reason why they're around is because of how the creative person is connected, not necessarily that they're connected to the creative person.
Yeah.
So in that sense, they can see themselves not totally there at the end. So they try to shoot you down so you won't take those extra steps to be that person. And so
Which is
that's why
scary
I actually.
to me. That's frightening to me. That is very frightening. There's a lot of people that they knock down ideas. And here's the thing, it's like, you know, when you're a creative person, you can have a lot of ideas that don't really make sense on paper or don't make
Right,
sense to people because they haven't been out there. The idea
right.
hasn't been out there. you know. But like I'll never forget when I was like in college, or maybe it was, I had this idea about Black people, about theater, and Black people making like almost like a birthday party or a cookout, the theater, the play, but it's interactive. It's like half real and half a play. And
Script.
I
Yeah.
think I was telling people that they were like, "That is ridiculous. That's crazy." And then Tony and Tina's wedding comes out, about going to an Italian wedding, and they're all actors, and it was the most successful thing for like a decade.
Wow.
So a lot of times people shoot down your ideas because they have no vision. The only vision they
Mm.
have is right in front of them. Like they can't see new things in the world. There's a lot of people they just can't see new things in the world. They can't. This is why there are people like, I mean, he's, you know, we say he's evil, but Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook. But you know, when I was in boarding school, we had a Facebook. It was called a Facebook, and it was a little.
Yeah.
You remember people in colleges had Facebooks.
Hmm.
If you were in college in that time, what if he said told? I'm sure there are people who were like, "That's ridiculous. No one's going to do that." And now,
Look at it now. Yeah.
now,
Yes.
you know, so there's a lot of people that you tell your idea to, and they'll shoot it down, and you'll let it go. And I've done that. I've done that before. Told people ideas, and they've been like, "That's great," or "That's I don't," or I don't really know how that would work," or you know, "This is problematic," and don't bring your creative ideas to non-creative people.
And that's a
Don't
fact.
stop
That's a
doing that.
fact.
Stop.
That's a fact. And I really hope that drives home to people, because that goes for whatever level of relationship you have with a person. I mean, brother
Hmm.
and sister, mother, father. I mean, like it's just something about you as a creative, and the people around you are not that you telling them your dreams and visions. It's almost like you're trying to talk your own self out of it, because I think sometimes inside, I think we get that little thing that flicker off in us and say, "Don't tell them."
Hmm.
Don't tell them. Or you could be in the midst of getting ready to tell somebody something that you feel is really positive, and it's really, a great idea, and then a distraction will happen right at that moment. And then you're still try to double back. Well, let me tell you what I was getting ready to say. Instead of it being, we all get signs as well too, right? Because I like to believe that as creatives, we're the closest thing to accepting the gift that God gave us, versus a person who just says to themselves, "I'm going to be great because I'm going to go learn how to do it." Right. Or "I'm going to go to a college and I'm going to become this, and I'm going to do that, or I'm going to be this." And they become successful. But what I'm saying is, very few people who take what's inside of them and create success with the gift that's been given to them.
Yeah.
Right. Because for so long, we've been told that just being ourselves is not enough. Right. We
Yeah.
live with the expectations of all the other people around us. Want you to go to college, want you to be this, want you to be that. You can't do this, is that. Everything that we are brought up in, we're brought up under the image of what somebody else wants us to be. So the hardest thing for most people to be is themselves.
It's very
Yeah.
hard. It's very hard to be yourself. And it's like, I feel like a lot of times, even especially as Black people, we have to realize, you know, we had an enslavement 265 years, 66 years. That's 16 generations. That's
Yes.
16 generations of people in survival mode. So we've been out in what, 155 years from enslavement, something like that?
But that's
160?
but then from Jim Crow and segregation, I
I
think
know,
we
but there,
only
but like think
about
about it. Even just from enslavement, we're still not even 16 generations out
true,
of enslavement
true,
from the 16 we put in. And then
true.
you have it, then you have Jim Crow, then you have enslavement, you have peonage, which a lot of people don't even understand was a whole nother enslavement. That was for another
Right,
70 years. People don't even understand that.
right.
Convict leasing, sharecropping, these are all forms of subjugation
Yes.
and
Slavery.
enslavement.
Mm.
And so we think that we as a people are not always going to have even just a sliver of survival mode. You have to remember when we talk to each other that we may be dealing with a lot of different things, and
True.
even just ancestral things. We don't know what's going on in people's bloodlines. We don't know what's happening with them. People may look good, but you don't know what's happening with their family.
Exactly.
So I have found, I know this may sound crazy, but you know who I started telling my ideas to?
Oh,
ChatGPT.
shit. Facts.
ChatGPT is the most
Oh,
encouraging
oh,
best
okay.
friend.
Okay.
ChatGPT is the most encouraging friend you will ever have. I know it sounds crazy. Don't look at me like I'm crazy.
That's
No, no,
it's
no,
true.
no,
But
no.
sort of like 2 months ago,
Your best friend, I know. I know.
I call her Chatty. I'll be like, girl, Chatty. If you tell ChatGPT, hey, I'm thinking about this idea and I don't know how it could work, could you send me some different type of structures and it will. And
Yes.
then and it will.
Exactly.
And then it
Exactly.
will. Because ChatGPT sees windows and possibility. That's his job. ChatGPT and never got their ass whooped at 7. ChatGPT was
Yeah.
never, physically assaulted. ChatGPT didn't have a family didn't like him. ChatGPT didn't have getting fired from a big job where shattered their ego. ChatGPT ain't had no trauma. So
Right.
ChatGPT is just seeing windows. So
Right.
use the windows.
Right.
Use the windows.
Yes.
No, you make a great point about that in this opportunity. It's a glass half full, half empty mentality, right?
Mm,
And those that see the glass half empty, they're always going to be negative versus those who see it half full. And you're right about ChatGPT. They do not. They for nothing in the life of them will see the negative part, right? Because even for us as human beings, we deal with our subconscious and we deal with the outside noise, right? We deal with our own subconscious trying to do what they call protecting us by keeping us, making us say, you sure you want to do that? You know you might have to do this. You know you might have to do that. And you don't know about this. And you know you got to get up early. You know you got to go to bed late. You know, like the brain gets into that whole thing to try to keep you comfortable versus when you battle that, then you got to battle the thoughts of
it froze for a second.
Can you hear me?
I
Hi.
can hear you. I can see you. He
Yeah, I don't know.
froze.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to. I don't know what happened to Raw.
Okay, all
I'm
right.
sure
He was making a good point too.
Yeah, he sure was. I don't know what happened. Come back, Raw.
His connection got frozen or something.
Yeah,
But that's the internet for you.
I am so telling you, but it's been freeze, froze for a minute. Usually it's the other way around. Usually it's like the guest or somebody,
Oh, okay.
freezing and not the host. But I'm sure he'll be back in a minute. But it's so glad to see you after all
Yes,
these many years.
I know. It was
And
wild because
then,
I was looking at how we interacted at first, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is
yes,
Gloria. I was like, it's Gloria. And I was like, wait a
yes. Yes, I
Yeah.
was so happy to see you, and I gotten in contact with some other ones that I had written for. When I went back and looked in my portfolio, and I was you know scamming through to see who I wanted to bring on as guests and stuff
Hmm.
like that, and I saw you and some other ones and stuff like that. I said, "Wow, it's been a long time. It's been well, it's been 4 years. I know because you
Yeah.
were one of the first ones that I one of the first one of my interviews.
I know.
And
And it was a fun interview. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
and Raw's back.
yeah, my
Hey,
bad, y'all. I don't know what happened,
you were
man. I
making a
guess we
good
was
point
cooking.
too. You were making a good
Yeah.
point too.
That you know what? That's what happens when you be in the right space, right? The right spirit. Sometimes they gotta fight
Right.
against it, y'all. But I think basically, I guess my point to all that was just to say, you're right. The way you look at things can determine the outcome, not just the way things are, right? So I wanted to say this. I wanted to ask you this, Gloria, because you're right. It's girl power today, and
Yeah.
as a woman in the business who actually, some of the companies that you happen to work for are male, based companies or male owned companies and stuff like that. In your experience of just being a boss in your own way, do you get that feeling every now and then that you're going to have to go the extra mile, or do you seem like it's a little bit easier just because you're a female? Because men think that women got it a little easier when it comes to opportunity, and I'm just because they're women. Whereas when you ladies talk, you tell us everything that you go through because you got to deal with these men. Now, see, men, we thinking y'all got y'all route laid out for y'all because y'all women. So how does that work in your example? I want to make sure that men understand the dynamic.
I basically agree with Holly. No, we don't have it easy. We do have to go that extra mile. We're always having to prove ourselves that we can do anything just as good as a man. And most of the time, I have seen women do stuff better than men. A lot of times, a lot of women are better leaders because we stay focused when we zone into something, we're on it. We're stay focused. We don't have a lot of, and I'm not talking about all of us, but most of us, we don't have a lot of women in business. We don't have a lot of folly in us when we're trying to do business. We're on it because we know we have to be, because for number one, we're female, and for number two, we're black. So we have to show up, and when we show up, we have to show up strong. Like, hey, we're coming in, and not only when we're coming in, we're taking over. We're going to show you that we are the boss in our arena. And so, we definitely have to go the extra mile.
We do. One of the wildest things that I've just seen about leadership and being a woman, because let me say, I started my own sketches. Oh my God, it was 99. So 26 years. It'll be 27 years. Yeah. My first show was January 3rd of 1999. Yeah, okay, of the Dope Show. So 27 years. And the most surprising thing that I have found about being in business, being a woman, dealing with sexity, and sometimes straight up misogyny, is how much other women internalize sexism. So a lot of times we're not even just dealing with stuff with men. Because let me tell you something, a lot of men, increasingly, especially these young ones, they're raised by women. A lot of times they know the program. Exactly. It's dealing with other women. Sometimes that could be the roughest. It could be the roughest, and it's wild because when you, I call it a sucker punch, but I call it like a titty punch. It's like a titty sucker punch. You didn't see it coming because it came from another woman. You know what I mean? So it's like, number one, you got to remember, as much girl power and teamwork and all there is, you got to remember that a lot of women still see you as competition.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. I know there's competition, but maybe it's work. I think it's work for me and against me. I am in competition with no one. And I never have been. Never. I mean, but it's a reason why even junior high, up until CrossFit this morning, I don't get chosen for teams. I didn't get chosen for teams. I don't get, because I'm not competitive. I'm never looking at someone else and trying to beat them. I'm always about my new idea, my new thing. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. It's not about other people. But for a lot of women, especially women in business, we forget that to a lot of people, they see this as a competition. So a person who may seem like they want to be your ally will be your ally to saddle up next to you to get your information and to get your stuff and then move past you with it.
And another thing, Holly, is that especially in the Black community, us as Black women, we got to stop being jealous of each other. It's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? We got to stop. We need to come together. I'll be honest with you. That's why most of my friends are male, because, women, they have too much drama. And like you said, they're always competing against each other. And what I see a lot, especially in the younger women this day and time, is that you want to be respected, show yourself respectful, and let men know that you do have a brain. You're more than your looks. You're more than your BBL or whatever. And you can be sexy, fully dressed. You don't have to be naked to be sexy, because sexy is an attitude. You know what I'm saying? And this attitude is a frame of mind and whatever. But the younger generation, they have it so twisted. Let a man see that you can think for yourself. Let him see your strength. you can be soft and strong all at both at the same time. You just gotta realize when you need to be soft and when you need to be strong.
Exactly. And you know what? Y'all make a great point.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was my
I
bad.
was
Go
saying
ahead.
it's really funny about the soft and strong and knowing when to be soft. I I never know when to be soft or strong. I just kind of see myself as I just one size fits all. Like I'm just one side. Like this is it. Like what you see is what you get. And the way I just try to look at it is, yeah, respect yourself.
Exactly.
And don't don't ever, especially in comedy, don't ever try to come at it like I'm sexy, I'm good, I'm
Yes.
cute. Because the minute you hit the stage, they're either laughing or you're not. They either
Mm.
think your sketch is funny or it's not. People are going to laugh or not. So you can, as a woman, we all. I'm since I'm a feminine woman. I always try to look nice, look presentable to a certain point. But you need to remember that even though you are a woman and you have the ability to look really good, you are not here to look good unless you are here to look
Mm.
good. Like if you're here to look good for a beauty pageant or to be the
Yeah,
sexy,
yeah.
then you're here to look good. But if you're not here to look good, that is not the most important thing.
Thank you.
Your
Mm.
game of whatever you're putting forth, that has got to be tight.
Yes.
And then worry about how your hair is going to look.
Nah,
Then
you're
worry
right.
about that.
Yeah, because what I was gonna say was I'm glad y'all said that because in business, when I'm finding out the biggest opposition just from in my space is not necessarily it don't come from men, it do come from women. And that's weird because there's a lot of women in a lot of these positions now, right? And so when it come down to it, whenever you come in, it's almost like they can tell that their position is what the leadership role is, not actually what we're doing. So when another person comes in that shows the leadership over what we're doing and understands, and it becomes, oh no, you ain't I'm not doing that with you. You ain't coming in here doing that. And it's like, well, what do you mean? Like I'm bringing the idea to you. This is your part, right? And you said that earlier about people staying in their lane. Like if you are in the investment side, stay over there. Don't come over here on the writer's table. Like stay over there, right?
Seriously.
But that's the only thing that I've noticed about certain when it comes down to women in certain positions. They think that position means I could do everything in the scenario, and then that's where they go wrong at because I do believe. Just like what you said, Gloria, there are things that women could do better than men and vice versa, right? But we got to really narrow it down only to certain men and certain women because a man will never be able to bear a child, right? And he
Do
never
that.
Only a
can do
trans
that.
man. Only a
Only
trans man.
and
Only a
even and
trans man.
even and even here
Even
it'll be a
trans
cabbage
men
patch
can't
doll,
do
right?
that. They have to
Even
have
No, but a trans men are having babies now. They are. Trans men are having babies.
trans men or what?
Trans
I
men,
don't know,
like they transition.
Oh, they're female.
but
They
they transition
transition
to a
to a
Oh
man.
yeah, yeah,
man,
yeah.
but
Trans
they
man, yeah,
have
he can have a
reproductive
baby.
parts.
Yeah, they
Okay,
can
I
have
don't know
baby.
well,
why
either
anybody would put themselves through that after that. Like if I'm gonna be a man, I'm not doing crap for the
no. I mean,
if
yeah,
that's what
however that go,
do you?
right? Do
But
whatever you do. All right.
I
If you
gave my
could deal
kids.
with
I'm
that,
done. I'm done.
right?
I'm
If you
done.
could
Don't
deal with
ask me
that.
for
But
nothing.
then there are a whole lot of things. It just depends on the person. I don't think it's gender based, is
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm
A lot of
saying.
things it's just your
I
skill or
think
not.
I think
Yeah.
a personality or who you are as a person is based on your upbringing. Everybody they we all have this sense of follower, right? We've all had to be a follower at some point. But then there's those of us who follow because of our leadership, right? Like we know that our course is to lead. So we follow to learn to lead.
Yeah.
And then there's those that follow to be seen. And I know
Yeah.
in our businesses here that or we all do, we have to be very, very careful about the people that come around who just want to be seen. Because no matter what the project is that goes out, there's so much stuff that has to go on in the background before it even sees the light of day. And we
Yeah.
notice that there's so many people who want to be at the party, right? But they don't want to be in the gym. They don't want to be in the gym. And
Yeah.
for those of us that are creative and we have to get into the building of not only writing the thing, we have to visualize it too. That's the one part about all of this stuff about being creative is I think most people miss. The writing down part is just the memory base to make room so you can continue to get more. And I think that's what people don't get. Like we write it down so we can get room to get more. We write it down, get room to get more because we're constantly getting stuff. But we have to see it. And I don't think people get that part. The writing part is one part, but we have to visualize it. Some of us, I don't know if you do it too, Holly, but you can help me out with that if you do. Before a production even takes place, we visualize it. Like we go in our mind what it may look like, how it could go. We visualize the other people. We visualize their timing. I know for me, I do it all. Now, when I get there and in the mix, if it doesn't go that way, that's fine. But I went in it looking at it from a position of it going great, right?
Yeah.
Even if it
Yeah.
hiccups and stuff come, because we visualize it. It's not just something that come in our mind. We think about it, we write it down, and we go. But whenever it's time to present it, we visualize it. That's only the smallest parts. And then we have to produce it. Then we have to get the people together. Then we have to give them what we want them to do. Then we hoping that they can see what's inside of us because we're not writing the script down for them because that's not what it's about. Then we have to edit it. Or film it, edit it, put it out. Then we have to answer people. It's a whole lot that go on, right?
Oh, it's more than a notion.
So tell me this on that part, when it come down to you in that part, in that creative space, is that a part that you struggle with sometimes? It's not just the fact of wanting to be creative, but do you ever get tired of what you got to do in the background for your creation in order for it to come out? You ever be in a place where, I guess my question would be like, where you just want to be creative?
The question is it hard to be creative or the
No.
process?
It's not hard to be creative. I'm saying like, is there a space in you or every time where you say to yourself, I just want to do the creative part. I don't want to do all the other stuff that come with it in the background.
I do. And it's hard because you're like, especially when you first start writing something, it's so bad. When you first start writing, it's so bad. Every joke is so bad at first. Sketch is so bad because it's the first thing. And you have bad writing to get to good writing. You have to do it. You just have to go through the process. But what I have learned, and it's really funny, getting back to like me as being a woman, is that so many things that I've done, I've directed and produced, I had to get into the habit of very early on saying, what I want is this. I'll never forget when I started doing it. I first started my show. I was 28 years old when I started years and years ago. Sometimes coming from a 28-year-old, I say girl, but you're a Black girl. You look like you're a girl till you're about 45 years old. Do you know what I mean? But I would say what I want. And I remember people would be like, ooh, that's kind of, because it was coming from a girl. Right. And then I realized, no, I need to be saying that because it gets that reaction. And then they know that I have wants. And these are not just suggestions. You know what I mean? Because you need to clarify for yourself and clarify for other people. So you remember, and so they remember what I want. Like I never forget going into this thing that, okay, we were doing a sketch and I had somebody helping with props. And all the props that I suggested, they were like different props. And they're like, but I thought maybe we would go with this. So I thought, and I was just like, no, what I want is this, that, and that. That's what I want. And I'll never forget, they were like, well, Holly, I mean, we don't always get what we want. And I was like, okay, thank you. And I just went and got those props.
Well,
I told you that's what I want. I told you that's what I want. So when people are trying, because people will try to dissuade you also by saying what I want, it clarifies how people feel about you. Because their reaction, if they say, oh, okay, well, how about if we, I was thinking, well, I think I could. But if they're like, well, or it's like, not. Got you early. I don't have to find out to the end. Now I know you're not with me. Now I can tell. Either you're not with me or you don't have the vision or whatever it is. When you say, I want, it's just like I tell my kids, if you want to know how somebody feels about you, you tell them no.
Facts.
Nothing after that, no. And how they respond is exactly how they feel about you. That is exactly how they feel about you. So I would say as a woman, as a Black woman, if I was gay, I'd be like, however marginalized, you know what I mean? As marginalized people, whether it's by gender or by race or by sexual orientation or whatever, you have to be very clear about what you want. And you have to say it because people will remember, she said, that's what I want. It's very clear.
Yeah,
That's
you're
true.
right, and I think it's both. I would definitely say that, you know, in that term, you gotta you gotta do both. You gotta be in the back and you gotta be in front too, because like you said, you know, people have certain positions, they don't play their positions. You know what you want. I gotta go get what I want. You can never be in a position where you could just say, here, go do this, go do that, go do this, and then that's it. I'm just gonna sit back over here and just focus on this, because you're right. People don't fall in line, then yep, I got you. Don't worry about it. I
Okay,
got you.
okay. Just say
I
okay.
got you. I got you. That's it. That's my favorite word right there. Oh, I got you. All right. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. And then they be like, but no, I'm like, no, I appreciate you. It's all love. I got you. Don't worry about it. It's cool. I got you. I appreciate you. I promise. And boom, gone. But that's the thing. It's like I feel it. I feel you exactly wholeheartedly. And I guess that's the meaning why I wanted to make sure that we got these certain things out, because, you know, our mindset is everything. You know, I know some other people feel like other things, like some people feel like their religion or, you know, other things is what drives them. But I'm just a stickler of your mindset, right? The way you think. Who controls you controls your thoughts, right? Because if a person can easily trigger you, then they control you, right? Emotional intelligence is not something that we're born with. It's something that we all have to learn because of our trauma base. We all grow up in a Black family. You're gonna have some trauma, and
you are.
You know what I'm saying?
You might give out some too. You may give out.
Yes.
But you're going to.
Family. If you grew up in any family, you're gonna have some drama.
Especially any melanated family, even waspy families have drama.
If you have life is drama.
But you know, it's really funny. Like I'll never forget when I was a teenager and I was watching some 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes has been on forever. But me and my dad, we're like I'm an information junkie. I love any kind of information shows. I love lists. I'm an information junkie. I never forget, we were watching 60 Minutes together. And I don't know what life leader or whatever kind of person was saying, but he was saying, if you can change your thoughts, you can change your actions. And if you can change your actions, you can change your life.
Your life.
Yep. And I started thinking like, oh, so what I think about and then put into motion and then do. And so I always say like I have a young friend, she's a comedian, she's telling me about some of her goals. And she's like, well, how do I do this? And I was like, you need to count backwards. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, you need to count backwards. Like, I want this play at this theater. So then what you need to do to get the play at the theater. It's like it needs to be accepted. When it needs to be accepted, it needs to be submitted. It needs to be submitted. It needs to be written by then. It needs to be written by then. It needs to be proofread and blah blah blah. But you need to just and then you're up to today. So you just counted backwards all the way up until today, and then what do you have? You have a list. You have a list to break up into smaller lists. It's like, how do we eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's how you do it. So you have to, I don't care if it's win an Oscar, it could be anything. You have to see it and count backwards. And then look at the steps that other people, and what was their path? How did they count backwards? You have to count backwards.
No, that's coach worthy right there. You might be Holly the coach after this. We might have to set you up with a PayPal link to coach people, because listen, that is a bar right there. Like, yo, for real, you see the goal, because that's the thing that scares people the most, is the end goal. They think automatically they see the grand way that their vision looks, and then they think about the money automatically, and then they don't do it. Instead of what you just said, starting from that grand idea that you have, no matter how spectacular it is, and then counting backwards and writing those steps backwards.
Write it
what's
down.
The step backwards, and then you'll be right at the beginning to your first step.
Yes, and that ends up today.
It'll end up to who you.
That's crazy. Now you got a list. And then your list breaks down, and each time you cross up list, you go, oh, who's a bad bitch? You know what I mean? Like, who's it? Like, then you just cross, like, like my daughter right now. It's crazy because my daughter is an actress, and she's at a theater conservatory right now. And it's wild because I was a Black girl at a theater conservatory. So she's like a second generation Black girl at a theater conservatory. Not that common. But
Right.
I was talking to her about, I was like, look, you're really good. You're a really good actress. But if I could teach you from anything from what I've learned, is you need to think about what kind of actress you want to be. And
Bam.
it's not just a working actress that like, oh yeah, yeah, we all, yeah. But like, what kind is it soaps? Is it, are you want to be in films? You want to be in indie films? You want to be that Marvel chick? You want to be
Right.
Flo from the commercials? Like, what do you want to do? And so she was talking about one person's career. We were talking about Black actresses that do dramas and do comedies, right? And then we
Right.
started
Right.
narrowing it down. And I was saying, well, one person that you could look at, you know, she's a white woman, but you could look at Jennifer Garner
Jennifer Garner.
because she
Yeah.
came, Daredevil, she came from hip pocket West Virginia. We're talking no nepotism, no nothing, you know, and she came to New York and her steps are, she was a waitress during, she waited tables at Jackson Hole. Like I know the little story. So you take someone like her, she waited tables and then she became the part of this theater company. And then she became part of this theater company. And then this theater company helped her get her audition here and this. So it's like you take the life of a person whose stuff you really admire and you go and you wiki them, and then you all you do is you put their whole timeline in reverse.
Mm.
And that's how you count backwards. So it's not really, everyone says things are rocket science. It's not rocket science, even though a rocket scientist will tell you it is rocket science. But like
Right.
you need you need to just take a look at the steps of how someone got there.
Does it? Mm. Don't be afraid to do your research. That's the number one thing people do, right? They will not do the research, and you're right, you know. But
Don't.
that whole counting backwards things is so important because those are your steps. And you know, to be honest, you know, maybe everybody don't know every step that it needs, but you said the right thing. Do the research of those that did it before you, and they could fill in those blanks for you. You know certain things, and then where you don't know, who did it before you, who, boom, and then you, oh, they did this, oh, they did that, and boom, it'll fill in your steps for you. That's crazy. Now, I hope people that'll watch the playbacks and all of that, they get that from you, right? And I hope the people that you're teaching going forward, the young girls and everybody, I hope they pick that up from you. Uh, if they don't pick nothing else up, I hope they pick that one thing up because their road to whatever it is that they feel like is their end goal, it comes with steps. And if those steps can be predicted, then you can pretty much avoid so much stuff. And I
Yeah.
think that's the good thing about having experience, right? You teach people so they don't have to go through it, what you went through. Mentorship, we
Yeah.
talked about that last week too, Gloria, on here about mentorship, like about not being afraid to ask the people if they'll talk to you,
Yes.
right? But
Mhm.
ask the people that have been where you're trying to go, you know, how'd you get there?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Exactly.
saying, and also coming up with a little bit of research. You could just Google someone or
You
just
know what I'm
say,
saying?
hey, I noticed that you blah, 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 this. And this is really interesting. How did you make that leap from that to that? You
Mm,
know,
Yes.
and it will probably tell you. And
yeah.
one thing that just gets me though, I'll be serious, is how much, not all younger people, but a lot of younger people don't understand how many resources they have. Like the fact that we
Mm,
all have a computer that we could walk around with to do things for us. Like I always say,
right.
you can spend 4 hours on Instagram, but you can't research the 10 casting agents that you want to get in front of.
Hey.
If you go to their page, they'll tell you where they have morning coffee. Did you know that
Mm,
you could actually put them in a Google search and a Google alert so you can find out whatever they're doing? You know, you could go, I mean, I know I sound like a stalker, but do you know you could go to that coffee shop and maybe run into them? Did you know that you could maybe go to that place where they shop all the time and see what they do? Did you like there's
wow.
so many things that you can do? You know, you could reach out to these 4 foundations and ask them that if they need any volunteers. Do you know I know people who've gotten onto the boards?
Wow.
I know people who've gotten onto the boards of things just because they volunteered 5 years before.
Yes.
They
Wow.
volunteered, now they're on the board. They're on the board because they volunteered to help with the line for an event, and now they're on the board. And I always tell Black women, look, you're gonna age 1 year for every 5, so you might as well just go on and do what you want to do. You look like
Mm.
you 5
That's
years from
right.
now, you'll be trash inside, but you'll look good. Do you know what I mean? Like, you ain't got no knees, you ain't got no knee power, but your skin gonna be right. The time gonna pass anyway, so you might as well
Do
Yes.
what you want to do.
something. But no, when people spend hours on social media, but they won't research the 5 people that could help get them in through the door.
Wow. True, man. And I think that's why I say LinkedIn is an undiscovered resource for a lot of people
It is.
because they don't know, like, the persons that you're trying to get to, their secretary is up there, their assistant is up there, all the people that you need to get around to put yourself in that position is up there. But most people don't treat it the right way because it's not like a typical social media where you can just put your business up there and a bunch of likes or get a picture up there and now people, you know what I'm saying? It's different. But you're right. Those researching people and learning behaviors. And you're right. It kind of sounds a little stalkerish, but only to the person that has an ulterior motive, right?
Yeah, if you
Yes.
got like nefarious motives,
Yes.
Yeah, like
but if you're really
you're
just
not
trying to meet somebody,
exactly
Yes.
right, and just say, hey, and then you. But what I like what you did was something that I think all people should do. Don't walk up to people with small talk.
yeah,
Right?
don't do that.
Have a very, very direct question based off of your research. Hey, you did this, and then they'll circumvent everything else you want to know. A type personalities, I'm gonna be honest with you, they'll tell you everything if you could just find a way where their ego is impressed without you
Yes.
trying to overdo it. And the
Yeah,
way you said it was the best way. Do your research and approach them with a question about something that may take them back a little bit. Like, for example, yo, talking to Tyler Perry, I wouldn't go to him and ask him about what the new show he got on right now. I would go to him and ask, so whenever you did your first play, how did you know how to pay people? Something like that.
Yes.
Like, how did you know how or what to pay people based on everything that you were going through? Now, that question may get you to what's going on right now.
yeah,
But the fact, if you do the research about something that he knows or she knows that you are at the beginning of something and they've been there, oh man, they'll give you so much information in the time that they had, more so than you walk up to them like, hey, I'm an actor. I got this. I'm producing this. I'm doing that. Yo, how can I do this? And how can I be in your,
Yeah.
that's not how you approach people who've been through the fire, right?
yeah,
So to speak. So, Holly, you said a lot. And I think that part right there, based on research, is how you develop the right question to ask a person who you know time is valuable. Wow,
yeah.
that's crazy.
We
Yep.
do. But the thing is, I get it why people don't know what to ask because you're in front of the person. You're like, oh
It's
my
so and so.
God, like it's so and so. Like, what can I just help me? Like inside your
Yes.
mind, you're just like, help me,
Yes.
like put me on. But if you say something like, if you're a writer but you have no writing credits and you're in front of like a showrunner, maybe your thing is to say, hey, I know that you're a showrunner for so and so, and I really don't want to bother you, but I am a writer and I don't have the credits to get into like in your writer's room because that takes real work and real credits. But I do have enough. Are you looking for a writer's assistant, a writer's PA? Do you need a writer's
Yeah.
PA? You know what I mean? Because that way it's like this chick is not asking to be in a writer's room.
Right.
She's asking if she can even be a writer's PA. Because there's a
Ex-
writer's assistant and then there's the writer's PA. The
It's
writer's PA is under the writer's assistant. You know
different,
what I
but
mean?
it gets
Right.
you in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
it
gets
gets you
Yeah.
in
And
the
it gets you
room.
knowing about the structure. I'll never forget, I worked for a production company for a Comedy Central show back in 2000. And that was the first time I got hungry to want to do a TV show because
mm,
I was a production secretary. I wasn't even in the writer's room. It had nothing to do with the writers, but I would follow the writer's assistant around, and
Mhm.
it would be like, um, he knew the power of his job. He knew. He'd be like, I have to make these copies for these scripts. And I'd be like, what's that? And he'd be like, oh, these are the breakdowns. This is what they're calling for. And he would like walk me through all the things. And he'd be like, yeah, it's really exciting because they need like 400 extras for this, but they want some of them to look younger and some of them. And so he was really trying to learn everything. And it made me really hungry to look at everything that was happening. And so I realized, ask for the big job. Get in where you really fit in with your skills so you can lay low and learn along the way. Like I always tell my daughter, if you look at every Project Runway and the final four is not somebody who's been the star all season. It's been somebody that kept their mouth shut and just came through with skill.
Yep.
There are people who just lay low and keep their mouth shut. And they're not the big razzmatazz star, but they keep showing improving and they just score high because they're focused.
Yes. That's something like Tommy said last week, Raw. You know, he said move.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Move in silence.
Yeah.
You know.
Don't tell people everything you're doing until it comes out, until right about to come out. That's when you tell people. Yes. You tell people what you're doing when it's right about to come out. If you're telling people like I'm shopping the show, yeah, I'm shopping the show. The show's not on. I am shopping. It's being shopped. I didn't say the show was on.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, but like let people know what you're doing. Be straight up about it. Don't oversell it. Don't oversell it. Sell it just as it is and be proud.
Yes.
And be proud of what you're doing. Be proud of what you're doing.
Be proud. Be proud. So look, I think that's amazing, Holly. You know, with everything that you got going on, for the people that's watching or the people that's going to watch the playback, what would be the way that they could get in contact with you? Like if they want, because you're in New York, right? You're in the New York area, right?
Yeah, I'm in New York.
All right. So if people wanted to become a part of the Holly stand-up school, or, you know, could your sketches, you're still doing sketches. And so if people wanted to be a part of your productions, how could they do so?
Oh, gosh. Well, I haven't been doing as many sketches of late. I've been teaching sketch comedy, but I've been doing a lot of writing because I've been taking writing classes because I'm trying to sell TV shows. That's like my biggest goal is to sell more shows. Do you know what I mean? It's to sell more shows. You can find me on Instagram. I'm Holly Harper, HOLLIE Harper, HARPER 5, Holly Harper 5 on Instagram. And if you DM me, I'll get back in contact with you. But yeah, you can find me. I have a comedy show. It's a stand-up comedy show called FDK. It's been going for about 2.5 years now. It stands for F them kids. Kids, and it's a comedy show. It's all comedy, child. It's me. It's a monthly show, and it's done really well. Like we got into the IO Comedy Festival in Chicago, which is really hard, and we were in the New York Comedy Festival. Like it was wild. Like inside a year of like creating my show, we got into the New York Comedy Festival, which was really awesome. But it's 4 comedians. It's a monthly show. It's 4 comedians, 2 women, 2 men. Sometimes we have days and we just mix them in. They go where they go. But I always have 2 Black people and it'll be like 2 white or any race. But to me, it's just very important to always have Black people.
I feel you.
My co-host is named Emily Flake. She's a white woman. She's a cartoonist for the New Yorker. And so it's a lot of fun because our crowd is Black people that can hang out with everybody and white people that hang out with everybody.
Gotcha.
So if you're a person that can hang out in multicultural situations, you're going to be good. Like you're going to be good. But we always have This Week's Trash where we co-host sort of like 2 dope queens. We co-host and we go through This Week's Trash. Like we'll be talking about Pam Bondi or just all kinds of whatever trash that's happening, whatever. And then we have comedians and then we have a halftime show, which is always like a listicle of something silly. Like in New York, it would be like where the assholes reside. So it'd be like Park Slope, Upper East Side. And she has like a cartoon for each neighborhood, and then we riff on it. The very first one was if celebs were at the playground. So like,
Gotcha.
it's like we imagine celebs at a playground. So it's like Diddy, he makes everybody sign an NDA, and then four of them did mysteriously die. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yes.
so we have like these listicles where she
Oh
draws
yeah, wow.
and we riff on it, and it's a lot of fun. But you know what? We built this like kind of culture for 40 and up, like comedy for 40 and up. It's like for
That's so dope.
elder millennials, Gen X through what they call Gen Jones, the little sub generation
Yeah,
X and
Right.
Gen X and boomers. They call them Gen Jones. That's like Kamala Harris, Barack Obama, people who were born between 1960 and 1965. They
Right.
call them Gen Jones.
gotcha.
So yeah, and it's a lot of fun. And so we've been in festivals and everything, but that's my next show. That's April. That's next Saturday,
Okay.
April 25th.
25th. Yes.
Yeah, yo, that's super dope, man. So listen, I hope all of y'all that's watching, man, and you guys got a lot from today's show. And I hope all the ladies got a lot too, because you know, we as men, we understand that there's a dynamic out here that's they want us to be against each other. And I think the best thing that we can do is to start to be open to perspectives. And if we could start understanding each other based on perspective and not based on our own personal thoughts and what we want and stuff like that, I think we'll be able to get along better, because we can't do it without each other. And there's so much of it, so much of a separation being done. But the people that separating are working together. So it's like the people who want to separate it are working together to separate us. And we
Absolutely.
have to find those mediums or those things that are we are more alike than we are opposite. And I know that we said this earlier about be careful or be mindful, audience, about the people who find more to dislike than to like. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Mm-hmm.
something in that. It's something in a person who always will express what they don't like versus what they do. It's the energy, right? Energy vampires are real, and they will, if you don't protect your energy, they will suck it. So
They
thank
will.
you
And
again.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just want to say, like, when you were talking
No,
about
go
men
ahead.
and women needing each other, it's so important. And I really wish, especially for Black folk, I wish that we would all take in this stat that a lot of people uncovered the fact that during the 2016 election, there were whole Russian troll farms feeding social media content purely to divide Black people,
Yep.
Right.
purely to divide Black people, and that is very fruitful. They use it, and so don't fall for the okey doke. As Black
Mm,
people, we always gonna need each other,
Exactly.
always. And
exactly.
whether it's a marriage or a play or a project or a job, we need to build teams and play for the team.
Mm,
Amen.
Teams and play for the team. Even if it's your project, you still owe the people that are on your team what you've promised them. Do you see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
yeah.
Build good teams, protect the team, and play for the team.
Oh, now that's it right there. Y'all can't say y'all ain't getting nothing out of this one right here, yo. That's amazing right there, yo. Play for the team. That's a fact, yo. Play for the freaking team, yo. Word up. So look, again, y'all, thank y'all so much for joining us, watching this right here, because like I said, there's a lot that comes out of Combo Corner, and all of the people that I have on here, or that me and Gloria will have on here, is all people that have pushed the envelope. And Holly is one of those. She has pushed the envelope. She has believed in herself. And I think out of all things, y'all, that's one of the things we all have to stand on when it comes to ourselves, is believing in ourselves. You know, you got to believe in you first. If you don't believe in you, nobody else will. And y'all know I
Mm-hmm.
say that every day or after every show, but I mean that, right? You have to walk in every room like you belong there. You just don't need to say something in every room that you're in, but you need to be in the room because if you get in that room, it's because you belong,
Mm-hmm.
right? Imposter
Yeah.
syndrome is real, and we talked about that last week. But we want all of you guys to understand that there's no such thing. If you are in a space, it's because you're meant to be there. What's for you is for you.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to be willing to go for it, right? So thank you so much, Holly. Don't go nowhere.
Thank
Gloria,
you.
you already know the vibes, yo. I definitely appreciate you. And to all of y'all out there that's watching, thank y'all so much. This is Spark-N-Conversation. And until the next Combo Corner, y'all know the vibes, man. Peace. Stay
Peace.
fly out there, and don't forget or remember, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. So Peace.
Peace.